I'm still trying to decide at North Carolina whether it is a legit quarterback battle or whether it is not legit, meaning they know who their starter is going to be and they just feel like toying with the media and the public and thinking they're going to get a huge advantage. Because I've been talking, I should say. I shouldn't bring everybody in. I've been talking about North Carolina as if Gio Lopez is the starter. Right? There's some NIL reports out there on how much money he was paid to transfer from South Alabama to UNC that make me think, oh, yeah, they're not giving that to somebody they're not playing. There's also the small elements of, like, they chose to bring him to ACC kickoff. And I think coaches don't bring guys that they don't plan on playing that often. Yet here we are, August 5th. Camp has opened. They practiced over the weekend, and still they haven't named a starter. So, in the interest of covering all of our bases, let's talk about the options, shall we? Gio Lopez, I'm calling him the favorite. I'm giving each like a nickname so we can identify him. Gio Lopez, the favorite. Bryce Baker, the freshman. And Max Johnson, the old man, I guess would be the way to differentiate. Max Johnson, the old man, also coming off an injury, but does have easily the most experience playing high-level football or high-level conference football in college. Now, I will start with this, and we talked about it yesterday, so I'll make it quick. I don't think you get a massive advantage from keeping it a secret, right? I think that's a little disrespectful to TCU's defensive coaching staff to be like, oh, no. If you play Gio Lopez, I don't know how we would be able to transition our defensive game plan to Max Johnson or Bryce Baker. I think it's if there is an advantage, it's a small one. Next, the reason why I advocate so often for just naming your starter as soon as you know and not playing these games is I almost think it's like getting the vetting process done, right? Give people enough time to ask all the questions, have all the conversations, and let it stop being a distraction. And then the other thing about it is there is a loose lips, sink ships kind of nature of a college team, right? If every single player on the team sees Gio Lopez taking every single first-team rep in practice, you expect them to keep the secret if it hasn't been announced publicly. And I get that, right? I completely understand that you should be able to trust the people in your locker room, but also, where do you draw the line? Can they tell their parents? Can a wide receiver go, Gio's going to be the starter? And then what if that parent is at a happy hour, gets a little loose and wants to feel like a big timer and go, who's going to start at UNC? Where do you draw the line on that? And then do you have players thinking of that? It's just that it's a distraction trying to eliminate distractions almost. Don't act like keeping secrets can consume you. Has anybody ever been on the inside of like a surprise party? It's not always fun. Like the 2 days before the surprise party, especially if you have to interact with the person who's going to have the party, right? The person you can't tell. Like, it's not always fun to have to keep secrets, and it sometimes consumes your mind a little bit more than it should. And I said this yesterday, it's the trap door, it's the escape route. If you really don't know, then yeah, you got to let it play out, right? If the coaching staff really doesn't know who's going to be starting week 1, they have no idea, then yeah, you got to let it play out. You got to wait and see. But then it's we have a whole other conversation on nobody's grabbing the job. Like nobody, it's cliche, and I don't always believe it. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. If you have 3 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. It's not always that simple, but it's fairly rare to have 3 quarterbacks that are within, a hair of difference in ability and execution, right? It's pretty rare to have guys that are that similar in quality at this point. Even if they bring different things, it's like usually one guy's, 15% better, another guy, 30% worse, whatever. Like it's very rare to be neck and neck in a quarterback battle. And if you want to say something like, well, Bryce Baker is a big dude and he's more physically gifted, but he's so far behind in understanding the offense, whatever, because he's a freshman, you can work in running packages for those types of players. You can work in ways to get them on the field. But then I still think it's important to flood your starter with confidence. Max Johnson, one of the guys we mentioned, the old man, was asked about the quarterback battle that he was in, and he basically said he understands it's a battle.
I've talked with Coach Belichick, Coach Kitchens, that, the best man's going to play. And, if, whoever that is, I know Coach Belichick's going to make that, make the best decision. And, I'm just blessed to be here, be able to compete. It just feels good to be able to do it again.
I do think Max Johnson is being honest in, it's nice just to be considered after where his knee injury, leg injury was a season ago.
It's less than a year ago, I thought maybe I couldn't walk again. I might lose a leg, and the fact that I'm still playing football, I'm just grateful.
Yeah, he just likes to be out there at practice, and I get that, but he also likely wants to start as well. Johnson was asked about how he and Gio Lopez feed off of each other, how they interact, which can sometimes be a bit awkward during a quarterback competition.
It's been really good just to kind of build that relationship with him. He had a pretty good season last year at South Alabama, so kind of being able to kind of pick each other's minds. I've been, some other schools and have played a bunch of football, so being able to kind of, learn from each other and pick up on things that we may have not known before is pretty special.
Pretty special. I'm not sure if I always believe that sort of thing, but that's what you're going to say publicly. Oh, we're a really close room. You might not be talking to each other in real life. Who knows? But I do think the earlier you name the starter, the better, and hopefully now you know a little bit more about the contestants in that battle.